Dave Senical,
Yes.
and Brad Herron votes yes also. Thank you. The next set of minutes are for October 15th, 2020. Anybody have any comments on these? Linda?
Yeah, I don't see at the end, respectfully submitted. It should be there, and I have page numbering through 9, and then the next pages don't have any page numbering. So there's a formatting issue with this.
Yep.
I don't have any context problem.
Yep.
Okay. Do we have anything else on these for corrections?
I'm good.
Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
Motion and a second to approve the minutes of October 15th, 2020 as amended. Any other discussion? A roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Herron, I'm going to abstain because I wasn't attending that meeting, so I'll abstain from that vote. Okay, next on the agenda, the minutes for October 19th, 2020.
My hand was up first. My hand was up first.
Okay, you
Okay,
take
Paul.
it this time.
Linda's gonna say no page numbers are not respectfully submitted.
Yeah, correct. And I also have one other. And if you can
Okay,
figure
Linda.
out which page is page 10, above the treatment plant, the second paragraph, second line, it should say the board could put the funds into a capital reserve account. And I'm more than willing to give this to Michelle.
Okay. Any other comments or corrections? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve these.
So moved. Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? We'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yeah.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Herron votes yes also. Okay, we have one more set, I believe, for October 21st, 2020. Do we have any corrections or amendments to these? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the minutes of October 21st as written.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the minutes of October 21st as written. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Herron votes yes also. All right, thank you, everybody, for that. Okay. Next on our agenda is we have a couple public hearings. First one being, it's out of order over there. Okay, first one is Town of Wolfeboro will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 4th, 6:30 at the Great Hall virtually for the acceptance of an unanticipated funds in excess of $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B3A relative to a donation of $25,000 for the town Christmas party if COVID-19 allows and or for distribution by the welfare department. Mr. Pena, do we have anything else you'd like to add to this, or?
No, just this is a very generous donation. We certainly do greatly appreciate it. We're hoping that we come out of COVID-19 and may be able to get together as a group of employees. But if not, we will certainly work to honor the wishes of the donor.
Thank you. Board, actually, what I'll do, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody on the public have any comments or questions for this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Board members,
Wow.
somebody entertain making a motion?
I'll move to accept the unanticipated funds in excess of $10,000 in accordance with RSA 31:95-B3A relative to a donation of $25,000 for the town Christmas party if COVID-19 allows, and for distribution by the welfare department.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes,
Paul,
Yes.
Dave Bowers,
Yes.
Dave Senical,
Yes.
and Brad Herron votes yes also. So I really do appreciate that on behalf of the town to the donor of this. It's greatly appreciated. Okay, next public hearing is for a contractual agreement. I'll read the introduction here to this, the meeting here. Pursuant to RSA 53-C:3-A, the Board of Selectmen, the statutory franchising authority for the town of Wolfeboro, will conduct a public hearing on November 4th at 6:30 p.m. virtually. The public may participate in the hearing by joining the virtual meeting through GoToMeeting. The purpose of this hearing will be to consider, among other things, the financial ability of Spectrum Northeast LLC, a subsidiary of Charter Communications Inc., Charter, to perform the ability of Charter to provide adequate and technically sound facilities and signal quality, and the ability of Charter to provide adequate channel capacity and facilities for local programming use. The focus shall be a proposed franchise agreement between the town and Charter for cable services in the Browns Ridge Road area of Wolfeboro. The board may also hear testimony on future cable-related needs and interests of the Wolfeboro community. Interested parties are encouraged to participate in the hearing remotely and offer testimony on cable-related matters. Paul, do you want to expand a little bit further on this and make any introduction to kind of familiarize the public that's listening about what's going on here?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd love to do that. Good evening, everybody. So tonight we are holding a public hearing for Charter Spectrum. I may not have the appropriate name. It's Spectrum Charter, Charter Spectrum. The stated focus of this public hearing is to learn from them how they will conduct their operations in the Browns Ridge Road Village Corner area. That's the stated focus of what we're trying to accomplish here. Charter Spectrum is a cable TV provider. They also provide high-speed internet access, and they also resell wireless communication services. The relationship between the town of Wolfeboro and Charter Spectrum is governed by both federal and state statutes. We call those in the state parlance RSAs. The town of Wolfeboro is required to adhere to those terms and conditions and not make any terms of the agreement that we have with this company either more or less burdensome than we have with our incumbent carrier. If somebody is out there and if they could mute their microphone, because I'm getting a little feedback, that would be helpful. Let me describe how the situation developed here in our town. We have neighbors in the Browns Ridge Road Village Corner area who have never been served with high-speed internet access. When our governor issued the CARES request for proposal back in early June, we approached both our incumbent cable provider as well as Charter Spectrum. We quickly determined that Charter Spectrum's costs were substantially less than the incumbent's cost to serve that area. The reason was quite simple, and you will see that when Ms. Kenny and her team show us the layout of the proposed franchise area out on the Ossipee town line. Quite simply, for our incumbent provider to provide service out there, they would have had to have run a cable out Route 28, past the 7-Eleven, up and down Route 28 to the new roundabout, take a right at that roundabout, go all the way down through Ossipee, and then begin service at the Browns Ridge Road area. The time to do that, the permitting activities, and the costs made their activity just totally prohibitive. So Charter Spectrum bid for the CARES funding. I can't explain and never will be able to explain why Charter did not receive any CARES monies. But when we learned that that there was not going to be an award, we asked the company if they would continue to build out that area, and their answer was, after some deliberation, yes, they would do it. And so it had to be subject, obviously, to a franchise agreement, because that is a requirement here in our state. So in order to have an operation out there, which would be our second cable provider, we have to have a franchise agreement. It is limited to that area. It is non-exclusive. That means that if somebody else were to approach the town of Wolfeboro and ask to serve that area, we would give them a good ear. Charter is welcome to approach Wolfeboro to expand in the town. We will listen to them if they choose to do that. But initially, this agreement is focused and limited to the Browns Ridge Road area. Attorney Puffer has been an active participant in these franchise discussions and has been a participant, obviously, in the agreement. If any questions come in his direction during the public hearing, he's on standby to answer any and all questions. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to turn it over to Melinda Kenny. Melinda is the regional director for the company. She has a few of her associates that I'm sure she'll introduce. And Mr. Pinio will bring up a slide presentation. I think it's like 6 or 7 slides that Melinda will briefly take us through. And then Brad, I'll throw it back to you to open it up for public questions.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Melinda, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you have there. Look, there we go. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much. And Paul, thank you for all the work that you've done with us since starting this past summer. Also on the call today, we also have John Marr, who is our Director of State Government Affairs. He's based in Massachusetts, but also covers New Hampshire. And then we also have Mike Timberlake, who is our director of our construction team, field. And I'm going to get it wrong, but Mike, I'll let you say your proper title. But Mike oversees the entire construction team and does, among many other things, but is also here to help us, if people have questions around some of the technical information and to talk about the build out project. But I just want to get started. The first slide that we have is really just a high level overview. So Charter Communications is the parent company. Spectrum is the brand of all of our services. So as noted earlier in the meeting today, there is a little bit of a kind of like a nuance, but you'll see basically all of our external customer facing branding is Spectrum. And again, Charter is the parent company that provides the services. But nationwide, Charter provides services in 41 different states. We have 29 million customers, and our network passes 52 million homes and businesses across these 41 states. Then more locally, which going to the next slide, in New Hampshire, you just keep going down a little bit more. We provide services to 56 communities, and this just gives you a snapshot or an overview of our service area, and you'll see most of it's up in kind of the North Country area. But we provide services to 56 different communities, serving almost 59,000 customers. We offer 1 gig residential services to to all of the customers within our footprint that our network passes. Then, and I just want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the different services. I know Paul highlighted a couple of them just a few minutes ago, but just going to the next slide, the next 2 slides really talk about our services. The one that I think most folks are really excited about, obviously, is our high-speed broadband service. Our base broadband speed is 100 by 10 megabits per second. And as I mentioned, we offered up to 1 gig residential services. We also offer a mobile product, a sort of a traditional voice product, although it's delivered over a facilities-based voice over internet protocol technology. And then we also have our traditional video product. We offer an all digital channel lineup, over 200 channels. We have a cloud-based guide that offers a user-friendly, intuitive search mechanisms, recording, watch lists, just cast and crew information, kind of any kind of details or information that you would ever want to know about a particular program that you're getting ready to watch, or that you might want to watch. And then the company has also recently rolled out what's called Spectrum Guide Narration, which announces on-screen text and instructions for the guide that allows customers who have visual disabilities to just the opportunity to explore the different programming options that they might have. And sort of to tie it all together, there's a Spectrum app that's available, it's actually really cool. Like, you can pay your bill from the app, you can program your DVR, you can even see your modem levels and see kind of where your equipment status is all within the confines of the app. And so you can chat with our customer service folks. It just really is a pretty intuitive tool, if you will, and it just really helps people navigate all of the different services. The next slide talks about, keep going down. Thank you. Just a couple of programs that we really just wanted to highlight. I'm sorry, you can go to the next one as well. Keep going. And I think, Paul, all of this whole brochure in its entirety, is it on the town's website?
Linda, all of the documents you provided to us, which is the longer version of this, and you have a longer version. It's all going up on the town website. Okay, fantastic. So folks can take their time and go through it a little bit more if they have questions or follow-up questions. Yep. One program or product that I really would like to talk about too it's called Spectrum Internet Assist. So it's a low-cost broadband service that we offer for families who have kids on the National School Lunch Program or seniors that receive SSI benefits. And essentially what it is, it's a 30 megabit per second service, but it's for essentially $18 a month. You can also get a Wi-Fi router for $5 a month. But again, there's a criteria eligibility, but it's just an option for folks who really where the affordability impacts accessibility for broadband. And obviously, when this day and age with COVID and remote learning, there's some limitations, and some folks are struggling. So financially, this might help some of those people. And then Spectrum also works within the community and gives out digital education grants. And so we do, whether it's a library, there are application windows that open up, and we will make sure that we let you guys know when those are happening, so that, whether it's a digital literacy program or, just a nonprofit in the area that's interested in applying for one of those grants, that they would be eligible to do so. I think the next slide, it is really more in detail about the Spectrum Internet Assist. And the only caveat is that it's a person can't have our service for 30 days. But in this case, any customers that we're going to be signing up would be eligible for this if they have kids on this National School Lunch Program or are seniors with SSI benefits, since they've never been a customer before. So they would be able to get this like right out of the gate.
Then the next slide is really, I think what most folks are really interested in and excited about, and I know we are as well. This is the project that we are getting ready to build, and it will encompass 54 homes and just under, just shy of 4 miles of our hybrid fiber infrastructure. And I can turn it over to Mike Timberlake from our company to talk a little bit about the process, and then happy to open up for questions and see how we might be able to help. Mike?
Mike Timberlake, unmute your mic. You're on deck.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes, we can now.
All right, I'm very sorry about that. Well, my name is Mike Timberlake. I'm Director of Field Engineering here at the Charter Spectrum, and so essentially, right? I think we're looking at extending our hybrid fiber coax network down along the Browns Ridge Road out of Wakefield, down through Ossipee, and then through a portion, as it shows here on the screen, out beyond the Village Corner road, as well as down into that circle to provide the services that Melinda had mentioned to, I think we said approximately 52, 54 homes. I forget what that number is, over a little under 4 miles. And so essentially we'll extend our fiber network to a point where we then become within reach to extend coax and provide services to bring new services to these homes and these customers. So that's it. I don't know if there are any questions or anything that I can help answer.
Paul?
So I think, Mike, I think the question that, and I believe we have a fair number of our residents from the Village Corner area online here. The big question I think they're asking is when?
Well, so that's a great question. So we've already started the application process. Just in short, before we're able to extend our infrastructure onto into new areas, we're required to apply for permitting and step through that process with the pole owners, the electric company, if they're owned by a power company, phone company such as Consolidated and the whatnot. So we stepped through that process, and I know Paul, you kind of helped us out a little bit, I think. And once we receive our permits, then we can begin the construction phase of the project. And we look at this project and we anticipate somewhere between 4, 5, maybe 6 weeks total to get it done once we get those, barring no complications, to finish the project and get it to a point where we can release the addresses and customers can then schedule installs and then bring the services that last mile into the home and choose what they want for services, choose how many outlets they want to have, what they want for services, etc. So.
And generally what we do too is, we communicate with the residents in those areas. Oftentimes we send out direct sales folks. I think it also depends to go door to door to sign people up. It has been a little bit challenging because of COVID and, how we maneuver that. And we have to obviously pay attention to, the kind of executive orders from the state and how we're able to engage in that way. But we'll definitely make sure to communicate with folks so that they know when and how services will be available.
Thank you for that. At least for me personally, at the end of the day, it's what's really going to be when the service gets turned up is when the value gets created for the residents out there. That's what they've been looking for. So I think that's important. Okay. Mr. Harriman, I'm going to turn it back over to you if there's maybe to open it up for the public.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Melinda, and everybody. I have one quick question before I open up the public hearing. Looking at the franchise agreement here, I notice on section 18 there, you'll be making available 3 channels for the public educational governmental access for our Wolfeboro Community TV to put programs out on. My question is, would these channels be available throughout, I guess, all of Ossipee? See, this is kind of an Ossipee type line too. Reason I'm asking is because obviously we have a regional school district which includes Ossipee, Effingham, and I can't remember, look at the map there. Brookfield was under your franchise also there or not. So if these channels be available for them for sporting, for news, stuff like that, for we put out there from the Kingswood regional school district. So
I think we need to figure out I know that you guys have the channel for the town, and we've talked about figuring out how that connection point is going to happen, or the handoff between Atlanta, whether it's the town hall. We do have some work to figure out exactly how that technically is going to happen. With respect to the regional channel, I need to go back and find out, get more details from our engineering team on exactly how that's configured.
okay.
Because I am not sure. We just technically have to figure out how we would tie that in or make that available. So we'll have to get back. Oh, Paul, go ahead.
Yeah, so Brad, so we put this feature in the agreement because it's something that Timothy, when he took a look at this, made sure that we had it in there. There he is. So we are going to be collecting franchise fees, which we do with the existing incumbent. We between now and the time we have those franchise fees in hand, we've asked Timothy to sort out how and where we meet the spectrum, where we meet them, so that we can do a handoff. The next question is going to be, I think to yours, Brad, is is there a conversation that we should have with Ossipee about whether they want to continue to receive public television service out of the North Country, or whether they want to get connected up here? That's a policy conversation for them and us to have probably at some point in the near future.
Okay. So I bring it up, get it out on the table. So
thank you, sir. I see
Okay.
Timothy smiling over in the corner. Very good.
I'm willing to jump in and help in any way I can to make that happen, but
Yeah.
it's probably not time for that part of the conversation yet.
But it's in the contract. The good news is this
Thank
is
you.
in the contract. We'll collect the money. We'll get it ready so that when we figure out where the magic meet point is, we can just connect it up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Timothy. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing to anybody out there in the public that would like to ask questions or make comments on this. Now would be the time.
I have just a general comment that I'd like to make, but not pertaining to this particular project. So maybe I'll wait and see.
Could I ask you? Could I just ask you at
Yeah.
the beginning? Could you just state your name for the public record so we get this all in?
Yeah, sure. My name is Christian Budman. I've owned and operated an award-winning visual effects company here in East Wolfeboro since 2010. I'm on Warren Sands Road, way over by Brookfield. Hey Linda, how are you? Dave Bowers. Linda's one of my neighbors. Anyway, I just wanted to reinforce how important it is to expand broadband into the rural parts of our community, as it is for the rural parts of the country in general. In my particular case, when I started my company here, I have a studio here on my property, and on Warren Sands Road, we had dial-up, and that was all we could get out here. Then a few years later, we finally got DSL, which we currently have in terms of land-based internet solutions. And so in order for me to do business, that meant that, for the last 10 years, I've paid about in excess of $500 a month just to secure adequate internet service so I can run my business. And so I'm super excited about the Atlantic broadband build out that's scheduled to start out this way. I want to thank Paul and everyone else who's been involved with staying on top of the CARES Act funding. And internet service, as we all know, is really much more of a utility than a service these days. I mean, if you don't have adequate internet service, there's so much you can't do. My kid is a student at Kingswood. He's doing online classes, and my wife and I have to stop doing what we're doing whenever he's in class because the connection isn't good enough, and blah blah blah. I'm sure I'm beating a dead horse, but just want to, as a citizen, reinforce how important robust internet service is. And as soon as you get any details about our project out here in terms of starting or finish dates, I'd be very interested in hearing about it.
All right, thank you, Chris.
It was nice to see you, first of all, Chris. Thank you. We've been emailing back and forth for the past several months.
You as well, Paul.
I'll get back to you with a date.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, do we have anybody else out here who would like to make a comment or ask a question?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ed Bolton on Village Corner Road. And can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to extend thanks to Paul and to Lynn Hinchy, my neighbor, and to anyone else who has been on the front end of this effort to get broadband into the Browns Ridge and Village Corner area. I'm not super savvy on what this benefits to us in terms of what we currently have. I would speak for I think the majority of my neighbors that we use Verizon and a jetpack setup. And so that's kind of a satellite kind of service. And so I'm wondering what the advantages will be. Definitely our speed is slowed down once we reach, I think it's 5 gig. Is that the deal? I think. What advantages will we have with Spectrum versus the current setup that I have? Personally, I think most of us have here with a jetpack kind of a setup for television, streaming, internet service. Does that make any sense?
I defer to some of our guests here from Spectrum here to answer that.
I mean, I think you'll notice a significant improvement and difference in being able to stream multiple devices. Again, our base speed or introductory is 100 by 10. So if you're getting 5, I mean, I'm not really good. It's a lot more. So I mean, you can have multiple devices. Streaming quality will be better. I think you'll notice it'll be just a lot more fluid and seamless, really. And especially if you're downloading or uploading certain files, depending on kind of what your usage is. I don't know if you have people who do online gaming or if you're streaming movies. Again, like it will be a significant benefit in just being able to access and acquire information and just your overall interaction, I guess, with with kind of anything that's virtual or online, even just streaming these meetings. I don't know, John or Mike, if you guys have any other thoughts or comments along those lines.
No, I mean, I think that's just it, right? So you pointed out that our basically our beginning service, our entry level services is at 100, right? So there's a significant difference, and between that and 5, and so I to your point, Melinda, it really is going to be dependent on what you use your service for. Like for example, in my home, if there's 5 sessions of Netflix running at the same time, I'm lucky. So I kind of need that. I need that kind of speed to be able to do that, and then to be able to be here with you today at this meeting, and my children online doing their work as well. So it all is being used, and it's all being used at the same time. So it's a benefit in that manner.
Yeah.
So
Not sure if that's helpful or not.
yeah, can I follow up on that? So I guess speed versus data usage. Verizon slows us down after we reach a certain level of data usage. Is that competitive with you? Do you provide something in terms of data usage that other levels of data usage wherein
Charter-
we might be slowed down, for example?
Charter doesn't have, we don't have data caps on our services.
Okay.
So if you sign up for 100 by 10, you're going to get 100 by 10. We have a 200 product, and like I said, we go up to 1 gig. So, we will not slow you down within, and we don't do data caps. So.
Okay, great. I think that's what we're looking for out here.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, just for Melinda's purpose, that was the person whose house we inadvertently left off the list.
Well, we got you now.
Well, you had to list it as 42, and there is no 42. I'm 43, but you guys jumped right on that too. So thank you for responding to that. I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
That's great. Yeah. I think we picked up 2 houses part of the project that we accidentally missed. So.
And you're probably aware they're building out here. We're going to have an additional upwards of hopefully 15 houses out behind us within the next few years.
Okay. Yeah. I was not aware of that, but I don't, Mike's team may have been flagged that. So, but that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
Anybody else out here want to ask a question or have a comment? I don't know, Paul, if you can see more than I can. I only have 6 screens that I'm looking at.
I don't see anybody coming in, so you can close it up.
Okay. All right, I'll close the public hearing now on this. So, board members, do we have any questions or comments from the board that we'd like to have? Yeah, Linda?
Yeah, I want to thank Paul for all his work, and this has been an area where in the past we have heard from the residents that they were underserved and needed to have better internet. And I'm glad that we were able to come to some kind of an agreement to make this happen and to have CARES Act money. So job well done, and I hope this makes life happier for the people out in that area.
Thank you.
Brad, my microphone was not working.
Okay. I'll reopen the public hearing then for you for that. So yes, could you just identify yourself and
Sorry, I apologize. My computer was not cooperating. Just a question. Will the addition of Charter impact current Atlantic broadband users financially or user, like otherwise?
No, I mean, our network is completely different than Atlantic Broadband's. And we're actually building into an area that it was hard for them to serve, as Paul mentioned earlier. But yeah, our network is completely independent of theirs. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. I just 2 people or 2 users here participating, so I'm just wondering what the demand is. Mm-hmm. I know we have heard anecdotally, but I don't know what the demand is otherwise. So just watching out for the current users of broadband.
Let me try to help you with that, Marion. Thank you for that question. The area that is being served out there has never been served by anybody other than Consolidated Communications. There is no Atlantic broadband service out there, period. When we put together the bid for the RFP for the CARES Act, and I don't have the document in front of me, I suppose I could dig it up. The homeowners association out in that area, led by Lynn Hinchy, who I'm sure you know, they put together a petition, and they had, and I don't have the exact number, but I think it was in the 30s, 40s, maybe even 50 people sign the petition. So does this effort depress, eliminate any revenue from another company? No. Is this something that was asked for by the residents out there? Well, if the petition that went to the governor means anything, the answer to that would be yes. Thank you, Mary.
Anything else, Mary, or does that kind of answer your questions there?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Because, well, so have the public hearing open again here. Does anybody else out there have anything? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing now. We'll continue on. Board members, anything else we want to ask the team while we have them here with us and stuff? And Mr. Puffer, do you have any comments for us? I know you've kind of worked through a lot of this language already and stuff, so everything we have in front of us has been pretty much looks good to you on your end and everything?
Yes, I think they have adequately covered their financial ability in the other areas that the statute requires for the public hearing.
Okay, thank you. Hey, board members, would somebody be willing to make a motion here? Paul.
Before I do this, for those of us who remember fondly our dear friend, Mr. Sullivan, the last chart that Melinda showed, that little squint chart that had Browns Ridge Road and Village Corner, that was compliments of Matt Sullivan. He couldn't leave us without leaving that vestige of a squint chart. And I will say it once again for the benefit of the public. If it wasn't for Barry, for Jim, for Matt, for a whole bunch of people in town offices, we wouldn't be anywhere near getting this done. There was a lot of hard work done by those people, and also by our friends at Charter. There was a lot of hard work, and by the residents, by Lynn Hinchy, and by all the people out there who got together, Sergeant Strach, who went around, collected petitions, and got people to sign letters. It was done well. And I can't help but just remind everybody that that's what a good community does. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move to authorize the town manager, James F. Pinio, to sign the franchise agreement between the town of Wolfeboro and Spectrum Northeast LLC, a subsidiary of Charter Communications, for a term of 10 years commencing November 4, 2020, as outlined in the agreement presented at this meeting.
I'll second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second for this to approve the town manager to sign the franchise agreement. Any other discussion from the board members? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yeah.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Harper votes yes also. And I'd like to kind of reiterate what Paul just said. I want to thank everybody involved with this, especially Paul, for you kind of grabbing the bull by the horns and really spearheading this whole project here, and and everybody else who worked hard on it, and a team here that's with us tonight from Charter. I want to thank you all and look forward to getting this project done and up and running.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody from
Great.
Charter.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Next on our agenda is another public hearing for the Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen to hold a public hearing on Wednesday, November 4th at 6:30 virtually via the GoTo meeting platform to accept a donation to the Wolfeboro Fire Department for a Smith machine bench, approximately valued at $1,800.
Mr. Chairman, this is a donation which has come in front of the fire department to help them be able to maintain a level of physical fitness. The machine is estimated at about $1,800. We did reach out to our property liability coverage company to ensure that we could have this type of equipment on site. They authorized that. I believe you do have an email correspondence from Primex on that. They do currently have some fitness equipment at the fire station, a couple of elliptical bikes, and they have a machine that is in dire need of replacement. So this would replace the machine that they currently have, and they do have staff on site who is very proficient in the utilization of this type.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pinio. I have a note here that Nate Nichols is going to speak to us. Is he on with us this evening, or?
No, he's not here. He couldn't make it, so I am speaking on their behalf.
Okay. Okay, thank you. All right, what I'll do now, I'll open up a public hearing for this. Anybody out in the public wishes to speak to this or have any questions? Seeing none and hearing none, we'll close the public hearing. Board members, any questions or comments or motions?
I'll move that we accept for the fire department the Smith machine bench under RSA 31:95-B.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
Dave Senical? And Brad Hammer votes yes also.
Yes, I have my mic off.
Yep, I saw your mouth move. I
Okay,
could read your
thanks.
lips.
All right.
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay. We have a temporary event permit application here from Wolfeboro Parks and Rec to host band concerts at Cape Park and Community Bandstand on June 30th, July 4th, 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and August 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th of 2021 from 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Now that's
Do we have
optimism.
anybody? That's optimism. Yeah,
That's good.
that's good. That's right.
That's good.
Do we have anybody to present this, or we just pretty much it's an
Yeah,
annual thing we've done every year? So
I'm not sure where Christine's at, so if we can do this and I can get any correspondence back that you may have.
board members have any questions or comments? It's pretty much the same thing we've seen every year here. Don't see any questions or comments. I'd entertain a motion on this.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Okay, we'll have a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers? Yes. Dave Senical,
Yes.
and Brad Harrell votes yes also. Next on our agenda is for the Friends of Community Bandstand to host outdoor concerts on July 3rd, 10th, 17th, 24th, and 31st, August 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, and September 4th, 2021, in the Community Bandstand in Cape Park from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Can't wait.
Is that a motion? I'll second it.
Sounded like a motion to me.
That's a motion. A motion to can't wait. Community.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Okay. A motion is second to approve the temporary permit for this event. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda, did you have a question first?
On all these acceptances of the motion, I'm assuming that we're going to ask them to follow all the COVID-19 guidelines. Just want to make sure.
Yes, I would. Yeah.
Yeah, we will certainly be following the COVID guidance very closely as this continues to unfold until it's over.
So I'm yes.
Okay, thank you. Paul?
Me too.
Dave Bowers?
Yes.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Harrell votes yes also. Thank you for that clarification, Linda. Got that one, got that one. Okay, next, special events permit for the Rotary Club of Wolfeboro to host the annual fundraiser to sell Christmas trees at Clark Park from November 24th, 2020 through December 20th, 2020 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Do we have any questions or comments from the board, or do we have anybody from the Rotary that was going to speak with us here this evening on this?
Mr. Chairman, this is close. We are still in a bit of a storm around us. And so what do we recommend here in terms of protocols and guidelines for folks going around and looking at Christmas trees?
I thought their application, when they wrote it, said that they were going to follow the protocol. It was right in the application. That was one of the things that
If it is, I didn't rate it and I apologize.
yeah. So this event will be similar to past years, except that the building will not be used and care will be implemented to protect patrons and visitors from COVID-19 spread.
The people who wrote it, you have my apology. I'm reading it right now. Thank you.
So we just got to make sure that we go yes to the motion, that's part of all these motions.
Well, it's part of the motion we have in our packets anyway. I'll make a motion, move to approve the temporary event permit for the Rotary Club of Wolfeboro to host the annual fundraiser to sell Christmas trees at Clark Park from November 24th, 2020 to December 20th, 2020 from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Conditioned upon receiving the insurance certificate no later than 2 weeks in advance of the season and to follow any COVID-19 guidelines that may be in place at that time.
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, a roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yeah.
Dave Senical?
Yes.
And Brad Hammer votes yes also. All right, thank you, everybody, for that. Next on our agenda, we have our public input, limited to 3 minutes per person, not to exceed 15 minutes. Do we have anybody out there with us that wants to ask or make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on.
Brad,
Next
can
on
I just,
agendas are both,
Brad, can I just interrupt
Paul.
something? I've had a half a dozen emails in the Village Corner Road area. They just wanted to we get further into the meeting.
okay, no, thank you. That's
Thank
good to
you.
hear, and it's, you know,
Yep.
good to hear, so. Okay, our bulk vote, which includes weekly manifests, property tax abatements, intent to cut wood, and some tax exemptions and credits.
I'll move to accept the bulk vote.
Second.
Motion is second to accept the bulk vote. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Dave Bowers.
Yeah.
Dave Senical,
Yes,
and Brad Hammer votes yes also. Okay, bulk vote. Okay, next on the agenda, we have a board committee appointments. We have two here to appoint for our Lakes Region Planning Commission so it's the TAC committee here. Yep, the TAC committee to appoint Tavis Austin as a member for a 2-year term, and also Dave Ford as an alternate member for a 2-year term. Do either one of them want to say anything to us about that, or we want to just go ahead and nominate them?
we're gonna talk to him in a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll move to appoint Travis Austin as a member of the Lakes Region Planning Commission for a 2-year term, expires July of 2022.
Okay, we have a motion to appoint Tavis. Do we have a second on that? Paul, thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Dave Bowers.
Yeah.
Dave Senical,
Yes,
and Brad Hammer votes yes also. Would somebody like to make a motion to appoint Dave as the alternate member to the TAC committee?
I'll move to appoint Dave Ford as an alternate member to the Lakes Region Planning Commission for a 2-year term, expires July of 2022. This is on the TAC committee.
I'll second that.
Motion is second to appoint Dave Ford as the alternate member to the TAC committee. Any other discussion? Seeing none, have a roll call vote. Linda,
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yep.
Dave Senical,
Yes,
and Brad Hammer votes yes also. Okay. New business. Mr. Pena, you got some introductions for us this evening?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So happy to announce that we've got a couple of positions filled. First one is our finance director. Our finance director is Kathy Carpentier. She comes to us from the town of Hudson. She spent 20 years with the town of Hudson, 17 of that as their finance director. She's very proficient with Unismart, where they did utilize that in the town of Hudson. She seems to be fitting in very well with the team, and she's getting caught up on a lot of work. Some of her tasks right now are to ensure that we land the 2020 budget appropriately, so that going into 2021, we can get an audit in a reasonable amount of time. I'm not sure if Kathy is here or not. I see somebody from the town of Wolfeboro, but I don't know if that is Kathy. Kathy, if that's you, I'd like for you to introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you for the kind words, Jim. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
So I'm in the middle of week number 2. I'm getting a lot done. I do feel that I'm fitting right in. Everybody's been very nice to me. having a lot of visitors, getting acclimated to the town of Wolfeboro. But a lot of it is like the town of Hudson, so that's kind of great. Software, some of the vendors, that type of thing. I'm feeling welcome and looking forward to the journey into 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, I want to welcome you officially to the town here. I had the pleasure of sitting down with you a few minutes yesterday during the elections and stuff there. I got to meet you and stuff. That was good. So,
Yes.
welcome, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep. As you know, you also jumped right in right during a fire drill here at the budget season. So,
Yeah, I always like this time of year when you have this 2019 open, 2020 open, and you're working on 2021. So somebody goes, well, this year, well, what year are you talking about here? So, but I'm used to it. So I'm enjoying the time in Wolfeboro. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
okay.
So our next introduction is Tavis Austin. Tavis is our new Director of Planning and Development. He came to us from the town of Stratham. He's been there since 2016 as their planner. He actually started last Friday, so he's just barely getting his feet wet right now. So with that said, I'll hand it over to Tavis, and welcome.
Again, thank you for the kind words. Still getting used to this Zoom type meeting. I feel like I'm looking at the keyboard in order to talk to you, but in order to make eye contact, it looks like I'm staring off into the clouds. So I'm going to stare off into the clouds so I can see your faces. I've met some of you in person. It's been a pleasure. As Kathy said, you know, everyone has been very welcoming. It is only day 4 for me. I will say, you know, Terry and Steve laid everything out. I knew exactly where I needed to be and hit the ground essentially running. It was, you know, and I suppose thank you for the vote of confidence to give me a 2-year appointment without even having met me. I guess that speaks volumes, or nobody else wanted to be on the TAC committee. So with that, very comfortable on TAC, very comfortable. I open the door. You know, my door is always open to any of you. If you want to come in, meet me in person, even from a distance or with a mask or even through the window. I have a window now. I'm so happy. So yes, it's been a very welcoming experience. And I look forward to working with all of you. So thank you for the opportunity.
All right, thank you, Tavis, and again, you know, welcome, Kathy. Welcome to the town of Wolfeboro. We're glad to have you on board as the team with us and everything. And I look forward. I haven't gotten in to meet you yet, but I look forward to that opportunity, and I'll pop in at some point. Any other board members have any questions or comments?
It's great to have a full team.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks. And the last one, I don't see him here this evening. Christine has hired a new assistant director for Parks and Rec. Bo, he started last week as well. Honestly, I don't know Bo's last name. So I did get a chance to meet him last week. We sat down, went over their budget one last time based on when we met with the board and discussions about added narratives. I believe Bo comes to us from Alton, and I will ensure that he is at a meeting coming forward to meet you. That's the last one that I have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pinio. Sounds good. Like somebody just said, yes, it seems good to have the full team again, or yeah, we do have a full team again now, so that's good. Okay, next on our agenda is discussion regarding the Port Wayland stormwater control. Any reports? We have David here with us this evening.
There he is.
Evening, I'm here.
Hi, Dave.
So hopefully everyone received the engineering report from Underwood Engineers dated October 16th, 2020.
Yep. Yep.
So I'll give a brief summary for those who are listening. But Port Wetland Association is a association of about 100 lots, property owners, off of North Main Street. The road, Winter Haven and Port Wetland Road are town roads. At the end of Winter Haven, the road turns private. The last couple hundred feet, it goes very steep down to a bank, and then it leads to the association beach and docks. Over the last 10 years, town drainage and other drainage has come down that stretch and overwhelmed the drainage system and caused significant erosion. The town did upgrades upstream of this in attempts to get water in the ground. We did infiltration trenches and we upgraded the road. And I think we did a pretty good job there. But we got to the end of the road, we're on private property, and we stopped the project at that point, and acknowledging there's some serious issue here. The association has been after the town, and we've been several times out there. We contracted with Underwood engineers to do this study. They've looked at the drainage analysis, and clearly the system is under-designed and in need of upgrade. They've also documented the latest washouts. You can see from the pictures where the beach and other property was damaged by the stormwater. So we have submitted this project to the CIP committee, and I believe it was approved originally it was around 100-some thousand, but it's up to 250,000. And this report documents the cost, the alternatives, and we have met with the association. They have a copy of it, and they're supportive of this. They're in agreement to give the town an easement so we can do the work and maintain the drainage system. What else can I tell you? Oh, we actually applied to the state because it's a stormwater project, and we get selected as one of the top 10 projects in the state. So it qualifies for a state revolving fund loan, which would be a very low interest loan, and a loan forgiveness of, I believe it was 10%. So we have some grant money on this, but unfortunately we've been rushing and we haven't had a chance to talk to the selectmen about this. So while some of the selectmen are aware because they've seen the CIP meetings, I thought it was good that we would have a meeting and you had a chance to look at it, and maybe if you had any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer questions or talk about it.
I guess, yeah, Dave, one question I got when I was reading through this, looks like also there's two options down at the bottom, or two alternatives down there, and then also some baseline improvements. Am I right to assume that the baseline improvements are going to be the same regardless of which alternative would be chosen down at the shoreline?
Correct. We looked at alternatives, but we only priced the one because the other alternative was to rip up the association's pressure treated steps. That's where the drainage is now. And it would seem to be more expensive to do that than to rip up the road so we figured it was much easier construction to put it right down the road. So there really wasn't any other alternative that made sense. So that's in the base, is in both alternatives when we get down to getting the water into the lake.
Right. Okay.
So Dave, this is Paul. Thanks for doing this. So I think I have the same question as Brad. So just so that I'm clear, page 8, bottom of the page says $385,500. We are not considering that option. We are considering the option that is on page 10. That is $250,000.
That's correct.
So I
and
can take
we have the support of the association. They recognize, and we had a lot of, we try to figure out how to do this, and there's certainly some reasons to go that route. But obviously, cost not being the only one, but we're feeling that in what the association would like to see, and cost-wise, what we'd like to do is keep this cost to a minimum. We thought that was a better option.
Okay, so I can take my crayon and I can say page 8, not going to do page 8. We're doing page 10.
Yes, and along with that, you have a figure C3.
Yep. Thank you. This one. Thank you, Dave.
Dave Senecal.
Yeah, like some of the other projects we've been doing, particularly roads and stuff. Is there going to be any assessment to the association for any of this work? I mean, we're solving their problems.
Well, we are, but with their problem is a smaller problem compared to the bigger problem, which is the erosion getting into the Winter Harbor. So this is again contributing to our stormwater pollution of that water body, and we all know that's not a good thing. So, and well, a lot of the drainage is on town roads, and that's why we're saying it's part of us. Now, you may have recalled, at one time, I tried to see if we could do a betterment assessment. I think that's what you're referring to is.
That's what I'm referring to.
Right, a betterment assessment would require us to make it a town road. And I don't think anyone wants to go there. And I think we had some discussion at the CIP committee. Maybe some of the board members were there, remember that. And we dropped that like a hot potato because that was a bad idea. It didn't apply with RSA. So we can't do that here. The thing also is that we are only doing drainage work. We're not going to do any betterments to the property. Basically, we are saying it's a drainage project. It will give us a drainage easement to construct it and to maintain it. And you're right, it is on town. It's not on town property. It's private property. We could say it's there, and that's what I did for 10 years. I mean, when I've been here, I said, hey, not my problem. Like White Gate Lane, not my problem. But technically, is it our problem? The water pollution to the Winter Harbor.
Did you get an answer to your question, Dave Seneca?
No, not really, because, you know, that association was developed, I'm gonna guess, 40, 50 years ago. And this has been going on that
60s.
long. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's been a long time. And now all of a sudden, they're telling us it's our responsibility, or are you saying that because the town roads that we now own, which used to be theirs, the water that comes over them, we're now responsible for it going to Winter Harbor? Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, just to go back in the history, I believe it was accepted as a town road back in the 70s. There were 100 lots. So over those 50 years, the impervious area has increased each year with increased runoff, and the changes in our climate, we're seeing more excess runoff. So the majority of the water is coming from town right-of-ways. And Dave, you're correct. That's the interpretation when I first got here. Hey, not my problem. Up until 5 years ago, hey, not my problem. But then we have now shown the light that the problem is this is not, it's all around the lake, all around the lakefront here. It's all privately owned private roads. But the development occurred. So those roads were here 50 to 75 years ago. The camps, maybe some are built up. Subdivisions were approved above, become town roads. And now with the increased development, the drainage is now causing the damage. Is it fair to assess them and let them do it on their own? If we wait for that, it'll never happen. So I was proactive in this. I thought it was a good project, but I think it's very important that you have this discussion, because if we continue to do this, then we continue to look at other hot spots around the lake, and we would continue to build partnerships with associations if it warranted, basically on the watershed. So if the watershed is mostly town roads, and then it just crosses the last 200 feet of private road, then I think we have some ownership.
Yeah, Linda?
Yeah, I went down there today. It's hard to believe that we allowed that big of a development on that steep of a road with all the water just flying down into the lake. And I think there is a need to protect our most valuable assets. That's our lake. While I've got those same feelings as Dave Senecal and is expressing, is there a meeting point between the association paying some and the taxpayers paying some? And that was what they were in. I talked to somebody today who said he didn't have any problem with the betterment assessment. So maybe the association can find a way to pay for part of it or pay us back. But one of the things I noticed, of course, is leave time. And I hardly could see where all the drainage collections were because they were covered with leaves. And so one of the things, if we get into this, we need to have a maintenance plan, because this is one of the places where you don't want any of this to get clogged up. And this is a question for Dave. Have we had to go back in and put more riprap and stuff in those drainage ditches? Are we being successful in maintaining them?
So we, at the intersection of Lloyd Road and Winter Haven, in those areas, we've changed out the catch basin grates so that the leaves won't plug them as much. It's a hot spot, so the highway department is made aware this is the #1 spot to go to whenever we have downfalls to make sure the drainage is open. So we have a kind of a standing order to keep a close eye on this. Part of the problem was when you see some of the damage, what it did happen, the call never was made to us. I don't know if it was at night, the drainage did plug. So we have to be aware until we make once we make these upgrades, then we will make them, I don't want to say foolproof, but they will be much more robust and less prone to failure. Right now, we're on alert to get out there, especially in the springtime. We'll have to be, very vigilant in getting the leaves out of there and cleaning those ditches. So we have done some work, Linda, but mostly it's in the structures. The damage is all kind of going downstream of us because it bubbles out of our system. It backs up, bubbles out, and runs down the road and causes all damage on their system. So we have a little shoulder damage, but nothing compared to what they got.
Okay, so when they give us an easement, the easement will then allow the town to do work on private property? Or do we
Right.
need to get an opinion from town attorney on that? Because I think we need a legal opinion that we can and maintain something like that because it's on private property.
For the record, we have taken other systems over, like heading into Lake Wentworth behind Trites Auto there, or whatever that's called now. So we have already entered into easements and agreements for stormwater, but we can definitely have our attorney look at that to make sure. And we would actually bring him in anyways, because I haven't even, we'd have to draft up an agreement. And now if we're going to ask for money, I think that we can't do a betterment assessment. So we can't use the RSA, but I don't know why that doesn't mean we can't ask them to say, okay, pony up a certain percentage of that. And we do have on drainage numbers, we can say, hey, a certain percentage is yours. So we can say, okay, X amount you owe us, and you can pay it back, if we go with the loan. Because the other thing too, the loan will spread the cost over time and we'll then get the loan forgiveness. And if that's something, again, we want to get into because it sets a precedent that maybe we could use the same model to help other associations or communities along the shore which are experiencing these drainage and stormwater problems.
I would feel better that we do that, and I think that's what Dave is partly. I don't want to pay for the full thing. I think they have an obligation to deal with their part of it. Yet I feel this is a very important thing to take care of because of its impact onto that winter harbor, and you can see the pictures and the eroding, and that is just not good to keep on going. So those are my main issues.
Okay, I'm gonna come back to Dave next, and I'll come up to you, Paul.
Oh, sure.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll just pout.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Okay. I'm looking at alternative 2. Is that the one that you are talking about doing?
Yes.
Okay. Makes sense to me. Now, the other thing you brought up is Lloyd Road. We're doing nothing there, correct?
No, there is a small stretch. If you recall, Lloyd Road is an odd situation in which you go in about 200 feet, it's a town road, and then it turns into a private road. We have to plow it because we can't turn around in the middle. The crest of the hill, there's a significant drainage area that comes out and then goes underneath Lloyd Road and then dumps down. We would redirect that down Lloyd Road into the intersection of Lloyd and Winter Haven, and then take it down the new system so that we could have one robust system taking off that drainage subcatchment area that's now, if you look at the pictures, it shows the picture where it comes over the retaining wall and goes down to the beach.
Yeah.
We would take that water off that area. So we would do work on Lloyd Road.
Well, I don't see anything when I look on this. I understand the catch basins and the pipe sizes, but catch basin A at the top, right there at the corner of Lloyd Road.
Yes, existing.
Is that is that where you're gonna bring in the drainage from Lloyd Road?
If you look at figure C1, and if you look on Lloyd Road, you'll see a note. It says vegetated swale or closed drainage at high point to reroute flow from subcatchment 5A, length 165 feet. So that's the proposal to redirect that water back into that system.
Okay, that's included in the price?
Yes, that's included in the base price. So for
Okay,
either alternative, that fits the baseline improvements.
so,
And then it's included in the
What I
total
get-
price of $250,000.
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. But, so anything from that point further in on Lloyd Road is up to them, or the owners of that live on Lloyd Road. So any of the water that's going, if you will, from Lloyd Road down onto their beach area, that's up to them to take care of, correct?
That's correct. I walked it with the members of the officers of the association, and we showed where the drainage system, they need to do work on their side to assure it's properly taken care of. So I think
Right.
if we redirect this majority of flow, they'll be able to manage that flow and not have a problem on the beach. But yes, the answer is they're responsible from Lloyd Road down.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to get, that when we saw, or you see pictures of some of the erosion and stuff on their own property in different places, we're not responsible for some of that. That's what I'm understanding, correct?
I don't know how you define responsibility. This is a little tricky one, Dave. I don't want to claim responsibility. I'd like to say it's a big problem. We're all working together to solve it. I don't know how do you say what fraction of it is town road, what fraction of it is the town allowed a subdivision. We couldn't stop anyone. If everyone comes in, they come in, they build a house, they want a garage, they want a porch, they want a second garage. I mean, it's going to continue. We can't stop them. There's no way to stop an individual from building on his lot. As long as he can get a septic system on, and then we give them what they want. And that in this whole area, if you look at it, every year there's another impervious area going in.
Yeah, yeah, there aren't too many more lots in there, but yeah, you're right, there are still some. But I don't want to have to pay to repair everything along that whole waterfront that they own.
No,
I don't
we're
think
not.
I don't think that's fair either.
Nope, no, we're not. Make sure you understand, they're responsible for their repairs, all the flood damage in the past. The last 3 times they lost their beach and had physical damage, they're paying for that themselves. We are only going to pay for the drainage system that's identified here and only take responsibility for right-of-way drainage. So I think we are meeting what you're saying is if there's any other problems, they own it. We only going to own the road drainage that comes in our right-of-way as defined by this report. And then also we have to get permits. So we have been in contact with New Hampshire DES about this, and we would still have to continue with the permitting process. That engineer is included in here also. So we still are hopeful because we have discussions with them that this is permittable. But so that's the where we're at right now.
Okay, thank you. Paul, it's all yours.
Yeah, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Senical, for giving me the opportunity. So Dave, thank you for doing this. I agree with Linda Murray. It seems to me Dave's doing the right thing. His focus is on trying to get the right work project done to mitigate a concern. I think our problem is we need to make sure that we see demonstrable benefit to the lake. And this is a model for other programs that we're going to do. Dave Ford's exactly right. You know, it's not just Winter Harbor, it's other places. I don't see us having that conversation yet. And the second thing, and I'll just do this rhetorically for Mr. Town Manager. If I were to ask the town manager, what is our budget to go out and maintain drainage systems that we have either approved through the planning board or we have approved here at the Board of Selectmen, and what's the annual project list, could we generate that list? Rhetorical question. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot. So I think we need to fix the problem. But the problem is what goes into the water body. Who pays for it is something that I think we have to work out with the resident. Doesn't appear to be a major amount of money. But, you know, and Linda, you teed it up earlier, and I think you and I have had this discussion. I've sat on the planning board. You've seen projects where we put in systems and then we for some reason, I don't know why, but we either don't have money, we don't have time, we don't have resources, we don't have whatever, but they go unmaintained. And $500,000 later, 5 years later, we're back in the same soup.
Well,
I'd like to understand how we're going to maintain these things. Not here tonight, but I want to know, because if we don't, then we're just throwing the money away.
Brad?
Yeah, Linda.
Yeah, the reason I said I wanted to see it maintained, I think that's important. But in Dave Ford's defense, what was it, 5 years ago, you wanted to get a machine that would allow us to clean the catch basins, and the budget committee said, So sometimes we're going to have to work hard as a board to make sure everybody knows how important it is that we believe that the maintenance is as key as doing the project. And I don't think we've been there, and I think that's important, up and down the roads, getting these catch basins and the sand traps cleaned out. And we do it, am I correct, once a year? And didn't you suggest once we get it, so we did it twice a year?
Correct. So it's a contracted service. So the catch basin cleaner was in a couple of weeks ago. You might have seen him around town. So we are now, we have over, 500 catch basins in town. So we are out at least once a year. Some of them we come out twice, and we do come out in special situations if we have problems. So yes, we had talked about, a combination truck, but the problem is manpower. Contracted services is one issue. And then, if we have a truck, then we need another person. But I think Paul brought up an excellent question, and I agree with you, Paul. We need to identify all the drainage structures outside the right-of-way, and then make sure we have maintenance plans. And we do, and we have been on the auto service project there, but we have other ones that we have to keep an eye on. And as we continue to go in this direction, whether it's a town project or a 319 Grant Lake Wentworth or other projects we've done, we really do need to keep an eye on these, because they don't last. They're not, you do it once and it lasts. It's something that needs to be maintained, and after 20 years, it may need to get replaced. It's an asset that has a useful life, and if it's maintained, it'll last longer. So clearly, I don't have an answer for you, but it's an excellent question, and we should develop that list sooner than later so we can continue to maintain these structures.
That wasn't directed, and I hope you know that. It wasn't directed at you. I'm driving by places where, and I hear people tell me they haven't had their drainage systems maintained. And so if we're going to spend the money and we don't maintain it, why would we spend the money?
Well, you're talking about a private system. So for instance, like Dunkin' Donuts has a drainage system that was installed 30 years ago. It's probably never been cleaned out. We have other drainage systems that are approved by the planning board. That's a problem. I don't know how you resolve that, because once they build it, the enforcement on the maintenance of it I don't think is there. So I don't know how we follow up with individual businesses, but that might be a question for planning maybe.
But I think what we're starting to say is there is a realization as we put, and I'm looking at the drainage particularly, and we do it to keep the pollutants out of the lake, or the phosphorus out of the lake, that maintenance plan is important. And maybe we as a board need to speak more to its significance, was really what I was bringing up. In some of the places in the past, or some of the times in the past, you had talked about the need. And I believe that we really do need to pay more attention to those cleaning of those drainage systems. And I think we as a board need to step up and do some more speaking about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Paul?
Dave, just a question, just on this one. So let's assume, just for giggles, we're gonna spend 250,000. We have to figure out whether we have an apportionment. Is it out of the question or out of the range of possibility to say that's the one-time cost, and then the annual cost that we want you, Jim, Paul, everybody in this town to know, the annual cost to keep this thing maintained is going to cost us X dollars? Would it be not appropriate, unable, or a bad idea to put that on the table right now?
Well, the reality is, if the system is built properly, the only cost will be is getting the catch basin cleaner to get to these two basins and sucking out the catch basins once or twice a year. It'll actually, you could almost make the case, hey, it might be less maintenance because we won't have the blowouts that we're having now, that mess, and I have to go, every time there's a storm, I gotta go in and clean up the mess, within our right of way.
So to
But
kind of bring this to closure, you could then say there should be an ongoing operating cost of cleaning the catch basins once or twice a year, and here's the amount of money we need to do.
No, you want to know the long-term operation and maintenance. So again, we could apportion so many man hours, and that would be a right thing. And then we own it though, and we own it for in perpetuity. So that means forever. So that means if there's a problem, we own the problem, which is why we ought to make sure we keep an eye on it and it's maintained properly. But if it's built properly, we have these systems in there now, which are 50 years old, which were built improperly, never designed, and it's amazing how the hill's still there. So I would think that a good, robust system permitted, we would not have many problems. But again, the maintenance plan is incredibly important because we don't want to lose anything if it's not properly maintained. So I agree with you, and we'll commit to developing that for all these new BMPs and other areas that we know we have problems, known drainage problem areas.
Thank you, Dave.
Any other questions for Dave or comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave?
Is this going to be brought, I don't know, what's the best way? Is this going to be part of your streets budget, highways and roads, or is this going to be a separate warrant article? Is this going to be, how are we paying for this?
Okay, so I think it's an excellent question. So the CIP committee has pushed it along. So the budget, you will be seeing it when you see the capital projects. It will be presented as a capital project and a warrant article with the intent of it being a SRF loan, in which we would pay for it over a period of time so that the budget impact wouldn't be as significant. And it allows us to get loan forgiveness of, like I said, 10%. At the same time, that might help the association. If we say, hey, you need to pay 10% of that or 20%, whatever a portion we think is appropriate, they could then pay it so much a year, because it's not like they have a lot of money. They have to then go out and raise the dues of the 100 people. Right. So it's, as you know, associations, it's not as simple as just saying, hey, cut a check for us. So I think that has some benefits. So that capital cost would be a warrant article that would need to be voted on, and then it would be a bond if that's what you all agree to. Then the maintenance cost would be in the highway budget under outside services for the catch basin cleaning. And then the manpower would be in our regular budget. So we would be absorbing that within the existing highway budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, another one.
Sure, Dave.
A lot of questions.
Hey, this one's for you.
Oh.
And Linda, you both on the CIP. Has this been going through the CIP?
Yes.
Is that what I understand from what David just said?
Yes.
Okay, so it will be brought forward somewhere.
Yes.
In the CIP or separate, whatever.
It's in the report.
But not this. But not this document, Dave.
No, but Dave Ford put a capital projects report in for this area for Port Wetland.
Right.
We just haven't seen it yet.
This is the engineering report behind it. No,
Right,
you
okay.
have not seen it. Nope.
Okay. I guess I'll wait till then.
Boy.
Dave, I guess I got one other question for you, Dave. On on the maintenance here, stuff, getting to the catch basins to clean them and stuff, you know, in the future maintenance, you know, plan. How would you get down to the two lower ones down by the dock system there? Would a vac truck be able to run enough suction line down that hill? You're not going to be able to get a truck down that hill, I wouldn't think. Or can you get a truck down that?
So when you look between catch basin 2 and catch basin 3, if you look at the topography there, it's relatively flat. And the intent was to cut and fill to flatten that area out to allow us to get a machine in to do the construction from the top of the hill down and from a barge going up. So the intent is to minimize the digging along the hill, but if you look at it, Brad, you can see we think we can level it out so that we can back a truck into that one. We don't think there'll be much sand there. We think most of the sand is going to be taken out. We're going to put a tank up at Lloyd Road. So like we did on Forest Road, we're going to put a 1,500 gallon tank up there. We think we get most of the sand there.
Yeah. Okay. Kind of like a settling tank there. Yeah. And you can so you, that's not too steep. The Winter Haven Road there to get down to the beach area, the dock area is accessible, you think, with a truck there?
That's going to be a little tricky when you know trucks. That's not one that we're going to want to do. We may have to have a smaller truck do that one. I'm not sure the big one's going to be able to get that. But we'll get that. I did talk to him. We can get that.
Yeah. Okay.
What about a barge, David? Can you get a barge in there with a truck and suction?
No, for construction purposes, I think the work that'll be done right along the shore will be done by a barge. That would make some sense. In terms of maintenance, everything else, I don't think we need that unless there's some problem I can't even foresee.
Okay.
All
right.
We'll have access to walk into that and inspect it to make sure there's no sticks and things like that. So, you know, we'll be cleaning debris out by hand.
So you might not have to get down there every single year. That's what you're saying.
No, I would inspect it, especially the first couple of years, probably after any major, you know, we want to inspect it before the storms. We're going to, you know, we're going to spend this kind of money. We're going to keep an eye on it. But once we know it's fine, then you're right. We wouldn't have to worry about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I think it looks good. I think it's a good plan, good, you know, good approach to it. So any other questions? Anything else, Dave?
Go forward. I'll go forward with this plan and we'll start working on the easement and permits, and then we'll get a certain portion. We'll try to work out with the association, see what they can afford, see what seems to be fair. So I'll talk with Jim about that and try to get back to you on that, but we'll work with the easement, have a lawyer look at it, make sure that it's okay. We you know, that we're not, you know, doing anything inappropriate. And then you will see it when we talk about capital projects. And by then maybe we'll have a little bit more information, but right now it's a green light. We want to keep moving forward and we'll fill in the blanks as we go. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good, Dave.
Okay, awesome. If there's anything else, I'll be right here. You got budget stuff, so I'll just kind of turn my camera off, but I'll be here if you have any questions on the budget or anything else, Jim, if you need me.
All right. So it does bring us to our next item, which is the final review of the 2021 proposed budget. See, Jim, you sent us out an email here this afternoon.
Yeah, so a couple things I want to go over on the 2021 budget proposal. First of all, thank you for the patience as we navigated through this. I did send you an email out, a couple emails out today. I'm going to go ahead and share this screen with you. That way I think it'll be a little easier for me to be able to talk through it and scroll through, so we're looking at the same thing. So a summary of the budget where we stand at this point. The items in yellow still require a little bit more attention. We thought we were going to get the costing for healthcare today. Michelle attended a meeting. The numbers were not released. So we're hoping that by the middle of next week, we'll have those numbers. The good news is they did give us a projected number. We have programmed that projection into the budget. So we're hoping to see a reduction there. The other items here in yellow that you see as we scroll down through are areas which require a little bit more attention. Ambulance, we're working through finalization of the contract extension right now. And we are also waiting on the consumer price index for the increase. Public safety building got me some information late this afternoon regarding that. Didn't have time to get it in. The long-term debt service, this is an area where we're seeing a significant increase of $239,542. That's attributed to the library coming on board and first payment of Carey Beach. So if you look at the total for the general fund before capital outlays, we're looking at an increase of $695,909 or 4.91%. When we tie in the capital outlays, that's an increase of $98,844, brings our total general fund budget to $794,753 or 5.59%. Going down through the enterprise funds, the water fund, we're observing some long-term debt falling off, so we're recognizing some savings there. Electric department, we're observing an increase in some long-term debt there with the conversion, which is coming on board this year. As we scroll down to the sewer department, we get here, and again, there is a long-term debt which is falling off, and Pop Whalen is remaining effectively stable. So when we look at the overall budgets, when we factor in the general fund with the water fund, electric fund, sewer fund, Pop Whalen fund, we're looking at an increase of $300,339 or 1.7%. Now, a couple of the driving forces on the general fund. So the general fund proposed budget right now is $15,010,263. Last year's approved budget was $14,200, giving us the increase of 5.591%. What are some of the drivers on that? New Hampshire retirement system, in July, we see an increase for employees from 11.17% to 14.06%. For firefighters, we see an increase from 30.09 to 32.99. And for the police department, we see an increase of from 28.43% to 33.88%. So we see a significant increase. That's 13.8% of our increase. Again, long-term debt. Now, mind you, 37,000 of that is will receive offsetting revenue from the betterment assessment for Stonehenge Road and Westwood Drive. So that 239,542 increase makes 30% of our increase. And healthcare at this point, now we've got more work to do on this. We're looking at 107,000, making up 13% of our increase. So that total of those three items is $456,754 or 57% of the increase. So when we tie in capital outlay into that, Again, that gives us an additional increase. So these drivers are really the major increases that we're seeing. Capital outlay, we're seeing an increase of 98,844, 12% of the increase. We subtract all of these out, and we're actually looking at an increase of $239,154, or 1.68%. Now, the capital outlays that have been requested, to go through them really quickly, and then again, this is on the general fund exclusively. $25,000 for the engineering of the Abenaki Motor House, $34,169 for the motors on the fireboat. There's an asterisk there because I need to verify that number with the chief. Cardiac monitor for the fire department, $32,800. Library, $15,000 for the website upgrade. Now remember, we're hoping to be able to receive some offsetting revenue on that. And then the Libby boat launch for $35,000. So that's up to $141,000 in capital outlays. Mind you, last year we had $43,125 total in capital outlay, and that was for a vehicle for Parks and Recreation. So when we've been discussing well, let me back up. A couple of items here. We're trying to maintain a lot of the services as is. We do have in the budget of our IT person going to full-time, and we are looking at reorganization of the Public Works Department. Now, remember, we've got a significant amount of debt which is falling off on our water fund this year. So Dave gave me some numbers and broke down the expenses associated with staff, and I've actually got this into a full budget that I'll get to you. But to summarize it, if the 2020 budget, as approved, it looks like this: $216,000 for DPW administration, $1,007,000 for water distribution, $551,000 for treatment, and $419,000 for collection, for a total of $2,195,000. Now, if we do status quo, we don't change anything, we're going to see an expense of $2,055,875. If we reorganize Public Works, which would move Dave Ford, Scott Pike exclusively into the water fund, Dave Ford would have 20% in the Department of Public Works for capital projects. We bring on a new Public Works director in July timeframe. The numbers actually are a complete wash for the general fund expenses. The water distribution line would observe an increase from status quo of $30,974, and water treatment would observe an increase of $30,411, and sewer treatment would observe an increase of $873. So if we were to do this, maintain status quo, we'd see a savings of $139,000 in water fund. If we were to reorganize, the remaining balance would be $77,959. So that, and again, this was put together really quickly this afternoon. That gives you a summary of the overview for the Public Works reorganization. I'm going to close out this screen, and we've covered all of our budgets. We've been through them fairly thoroughly with the department heads, with the Board of Selectmen, but still that number of that $794,000 increase to me is a scary number. So what I'd like to do is possibly propose that we meet again on Monday to give a final blessing of this budget and make any decisions which we may have to adjust on that evening. With that said, Mr. Chairman, I'll try to answer any questions that the board may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pinio. Linda?
Yes, on those figures that you showed us, was health insurance included in there?
No, Linda, that excellent point. So the spreadsheet that Dave gave you, that I sent you earlier today, did have the health insurance associated with the reorganization and bringing on a new person at an estimated two-person plan. I believe it's $26,000, $24,000, and that would be half a year, so that would be a $12,000 increase on that.
So it would cost, that needs to be into that comparison, so it's not neutral. And so whatever we went through this before, and we really need to get that into our computation of these figures, because it does to us. You know, I would like us to meet on Monday, and I would like from Jim to look through his budget and have places where he thinks that he would be comfortable for us making some changes. You know, I can say, oh, I'd like to cut this. And I was saying, well, do we really need all those coal firefighters? And Jim and I was having that conversation. He said, yes, but I think there's someplace else you could do some cutting. I need that information from him in order for us to take a look at this budget and try to make any cuts come forward. So I think that there are some cuts that we can make. I think we should, to show the budget committee we were serious about some cuts. And I'd like our town manager to kind of point us in the direction of where we might want to do that.
Yeah, that's a good approach. I like that. Paul?
Yeah, I'm with Linda. We can all sit around and say, you know, I don't like the brochure budget, or we don't like this budget. And I don't think that's doing any service to the taxpayer or to the town manager. I'd like to know what you think the unrestricted fund balance is going to look like. I'd like to know if there's any items that we need to do that we could do in this current year. You know, it's kind of the do-dos. Are there things we could do in this year? And I offer you that when a computer breaks, you can wait till next year to replace it, or you can replace it now. It's a broken computer. I'd like to know from you what the must funds are. I think giving haircuts is a dumb idea. You know, if everybody gets a 10% haircut, I mean, that we're not, I don't like that. But I also would like to, I'd also like to make sure that we are funding the operations of the town. And anything outside of that is fair game. The funding of the operations of, you know, Public Works, Parks and Recreation Department, those are basic operations of the town. The other stuff is up for grabs. And so I'm with you, Linda. Let's let Jim, you know, pray over that, and please come back to us with things. And I also agree with what we talked about earlier, and that is, if we think that it's important that we fund a given operation, we have to tell the budget committee together that it's important. Over to you, Mr. Senecal.
Dave, have any comments or questions?
Yeah, Monday's fine. I mean, as far as I know. I mean,
I
we've
think
been meeting every night anyway, so keep it going.
Shot the hell out of my next cable franchise meeting, Jim. Thanks for that.
It was taken care of tonight.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm good with Monday night too, so does that, Dave Bowers, does Monday night work for you to have one more meeting on this?
Okay, so do we want to meet on at 6 o'clock again, or do you want to push it to 6:30?
Yeah.
I think 6 o'clock works. That's what we've been doing for all these, so let's keep it the same.
Okay, I'll let Amy know, we'll get it noticed. It really doesn't change anything relative to the budget committee. The budget committee is scheduled to meet on Tuesday. The first budgets that they have are Parks and Rec. And then they have the, I don't recall who the second budget is. It's pretty straightforward.
Electric, you said.
Electric's pretty much in line. And then it's police commission. So we've got a little bit of time here. But I'd like to be able to schedule that meeting Monday, so we'll get that taken care of and move on.
Sounds good.
Johnny Walker, Paul.
Linda and I are gonna be there Tuesday night, all revved up with the budget committee.
Here we are.
Good luck.
Okay.
God bless us.
Other business. Do we have any other business to discuss tonight? Anybody have anything we need to bring up? Committee reports. Linda, why don't we start with you if you'd like?
All righty, let me find my paper here. I met with a member of the Energy Committee to kind of talk about where that committee was going. As we all have been, I counted up, we've had 5 budget hearings in the last 2 weeks. There was a meeting of the doc committee, and if Paul can tell you about that. I went to the preliminary opening of the absentee ballots on Saturday, and I got to spend the day with all of you yesterday at the polls. So
it was delightful.
Just great, right?
I mean,
yeah,
it was great.
That's all I
Paul. Okay, Paul.
I'll start with yesterday. It was just like a moment in time. It was beautiful. Hats off to Pat Waterman. She ran a super duper election. It was really good. And thanks to the people for showing up and doing their duty. Yeah, me too. 5 budget meetings, and we're going to have hundreds more, Linda and I. We did have a docs committee meeting, and Jim did a great job, along with Dave Ford's support, showing people what the layout and configuration is of all the docs, and we kind of penciled in the things we got to go get more information on for the team. I think that's moving to clarity, and Linda has reminded me I haven't done the minutes, and I'm going to get to that. I promise you, Linda, sometime. We've had a public safety building committee subcommittee meeting with Mr. Senecal and myself, and we drove around the town to look at properties. Dave and I did, and we also met with the fire chief, and Dave can tell you about the what we witnessed in the fire station, and just trying to wrap up this thing that we went through tonight with folks to make sure we got everything buttoned up. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Paul. Dave Senecal.
Yes. Yesterday was fun. Certainly enjoyed that. And I had a Conservation Commission meeting. As mentioned, we have budgets. And then the other day, I went on a field trip with Paul. And if you get in his new Jeep, make sure the seatbelt's fastened. We took off over some back roads, and it was fun. We enjoyed it. Paul saw some areas that he'd never seen before. We did meet with Chief Scanzi, went through the fire station, saw some of the issues, went over some of the plans that were on the wall there, and came up with some compromises possibly on those. Then we went out, Paul and I did, and looked at the substation out there by 7-Eleven with the chief. I couldn't wait to get out of that building. That thing's full of mold and stuff. It needs to be taken down. It's terrible in there. But then we went and we looked at some locations for the new police station. So one of them was out there. The other's on North Main Street. The other one was on 109A on the corner of 109 and where the plastic place is. And so then we went down to Cary Beach, saw what was going on there. I was impressed with what's been done. I think Paul was as well. And then we took some other side roads and looked at some other issues that we've talked about through the budget time. So it was more than half a day the other day, and I thought that was a great trip. And I think the two of us with Chief Scanzi got a lot done in that period of time. So yeah, it was a good day. But yeah, I'm glad some of it's over, especially the budget. You guys can have fun with the rest of it.
I think Dave, Dave Bowers.
Dave Santa Claus, if you looked at all at the old bank as a possible acquisition for the town, it's right on the corner there.
Yes, we have.
And what's your opinion of it?
The owner of the property will not sell it to us.
Why?
Well, I don't want to get into all of that, but he does not want to sell it to the town. It's that simple.
That sounds strange. Okay.
No.
End of question.
Okay, do you have any committee reports and stuff for us tonight, Dave?
Me? No.
No? Okay. And other than the election, budget committee meetings that we've had with each other and the election yesterday, spending the day there, that's all I've had for the past week or so. So move on to the town manager's report.
Budgets, as you are very well aware. Tomorrow, the MRI will begin hearings, the reevaluation, which was just completed. So that process is now underway. I did get the updated fee schedule from our assessing company, so that'll be forthcoming to you with an updated budget. That's been the bulk of it, is budgets. So thank you.
All right. Thank you. Questions from the press? Alyssa, you out here with us this evening?
I am here. Yeah, I don't really have any questions for you, but I have to say I'm impressed with all the work that's being done. At the same time that you're doing all the budgets, you're also hiring new people and training them and getting used to that. And on your committees looking, for possible locations for a police facility or whatever, you're just doing a tremendous amount of work. It's very impressive.
Oh, Jim's fault.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Alyssa. Okay, next we'll move on to public input. Anybody out there want to speak to us this evening? Seeing none, I guess I'd entertain a motion to go into non-public this evening under RSA 91-A. That's what we had. Right? Motion and a second to go into non-public. Any discussion? Roll call vote. Linda?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Dave Senecal?
Yes.
Dave Bowers?
Yeah.
And Brett Emerson votes yes also. We're gonna stay right on this channel, Jim? Okay.
Good night, everybody.